Hello and welcome to all. When we think of the most expensive liquids in the world, we usually imagine molten gold, silver, or platinum, but there is a wide variety of expensive and intriguing liquids on our planet, which in terms of value far exceed anything we can imagine. While some are commonly used, such as printer ink and nail polish, others are rarer, stranger, more amazing, and more precious than gold. And that's what we're going to talk about. Without further ado, let's see what the 7 most expensive liquids in the world are. Let's get started. Scorpion venom is the most expensive natural liquid in the world, and besides, it is not necessarily dangerous. It is very useful in medical experiments, for example, to detect tumors, to cure bone diseases and inflammations. Its therapeutic virtues are surely even more numerous. The more research advances, the newer applications can be found for this poison. But it is especially as a detector of cancer cells that scorpion venom is valuable. It is important to know that scorpion venom is neurotoxic in nature since it rapidly besieges the nervous system. Therefore, once it enters the sick body, it circulates in the veins, quickly reaches the brain, and attaches itself to nerve cells. It then illuminates those that are seriously affected. But this luminescent liquid costs a fortune, and it is very hard to get large quantities. It is recovered manually, through a slow and laborious process. In fact, each milking session allows the collection of only 2 milligrams of venom. So, it is normal that a liter of scorpion venom is worth about $10 million, or $5 per secretion. But you'd be naive to think you'd get rich that way. In reality, even if you had a jug full of this precious liquid, you wouldn't sell it to anyone. This is simply because researchers prefer to obtain their supplies from reliable laboratories that detail the characteristics of the venom, which amateurs do not. The red mercury, that fearsome explosive. How many criminals dream of it? Fortunately, they can't get it, for the good reason that it doesn't exist. Yet this red substance is still eagerly sought after by criminals and terrorists. So much so that fortunes are spent to acquire it. Legend has it that red mercury is a component of thermonuclear bombs, meaning that the toxic energy released by the explosion causes damage to biological tissue, as well as electronic objects. This myth has existed for at least a century, and its origin is hypothetical. Indeed, it is not known whether this is an invention of the Americans to trap traffickers during the Cold War or a swindle of Soviet smugglers wanting to make a fortune. Either way, samples of red mercury were secretly sold for several $100s a milliliter. These chemical mixtures do not have the explosive power that is attributed to them. In reality, they are worthless, and this is a pure scam. 10 years ago, in Saudi Arabia, shrewd traders claimed that some sewing machines contained red mercury. They were sold for more than $50,000 each. Proof that we can be dangerous, malicious, and naive as a child. In fact, there is only one red-colored substance composed of mercury, cinnabar. It is used in the art of pottery, which has little in common with the art of making explosives. This does not prevent mercury from being toxic to human health if inhaled, especially to the nervous system and the lungs. Here's a spirit that's no cheap. It is a whiskey from Macallan cask number 263, distilled in 1926 and bottled in 1986. This whiskey, nicknamed the Holy Grail of drinks, is simply the most expensive alcoholic beverage in the world. At the Sotheby's auction house in London in 2019, a wealthy buyer acquired it at an auction for $2.4 million. That's 3 times the original estimated price. This bottle, which is mainly a luxury decorative item, contains 700 milliliters. The Sotheby's auction house is full of praise for this whiskey, described as the most emblematic of all Scottish production, and as an essential part of all major collections. Moreover, it promises a unique taste experience to the Blessed One who will drink this nectar. If we calculate, a 15 milliliters glass is equivalent to $53,000. Sotheby's did not reveal the identity of the buyer, but we imagine that the tasting will be a solemn and festive moment. It's hard to talk about the most expensive liquids in the world without mentioning perfume. This one is nothing less than the most expensive perfume in the world, made in Dubai. Luxury and excess are the hallmarks of this city full of wonders, which is evolving at breakneck speed. The sumptuous perfume Shumik is the latest creation of Emirati fashion. It's the quintessential spirit of Dubai in a 3-liter bottle. This bottle is set with 3,571 38-carat diamonds, gold pearls, pure silver, and topaz. The cost of this true work of art is $1.2 million. It took almost 500 combination trials and 3 years of work to design this magnificent fragrance, which we would love to smell. Created by the president of Nabil Perfumes Group of Companies, Mr. Ashgar Adam Ali, this perfume can stay 12 hours on the skin and 1 month on fabrics. You are probably wondering what this liquid gold is made of. Well, rare ingredients taken from the remotest corners of the globe: amber, sandalwood, Indian agarwood, Turkish rose, patchouli, musk, and incense, among other elements. This monument of perfumery and jewelry is 1.97 meters tall, and you can imagine that billionaires will snatch it up. Do you know the black ivory? No, I knew it. Well, it's a rare coffee made from beans from the elephant's stomach, collected in its feces. Sounds appealing, doesn't it? Actually, it's not as crazy an idea as one might think, because the digestive system of elephants is like a cooker. There, in the vicinity of fruits and herbs, the coffee beans acquire a sweet, rich, and nuanced flavor. Gastric acids take care of removing the bitterness from this rare and expensive coffee. Knowing that a liter of this coffee costs approximately €800. The lack of control over fermentation, since it takes place in the elephant's stomach, the artisanal and laborious harvesting justify raising this price. But there is another embarrassment, quite funny: to collect these grains in the dung of the pachyderms, these big animals still must avoid defecating in the rivers. Such recklessness on the part of elephants causes many financial losses. So, to get 1 kilo of this coffee, elephants must swallow 30 kilos of beans, sown in their food ration, rice, bananas, sugar cane, and other fruits. You'd like to taste it, wouldn't you? This coffee is mainly produced in the forests of northern Thailand and served in luxury hotels. The most famous manufacturer of this coffee is the Black Ivory Coffee Company, which donates 8% of its revenue to an elephant conservation association. Blake Dinkin, a 44-year-old Canadian entrepreneur, was one of the first to design this coffee project. He laughed at the beginning, and his coffee was comically nicknamed Crappuccino, or good to the last drop. It took this man 10 years, and a lot of money, to find the right formula, and to silence the laughs. Today, this coffee is a marvel of taste. The aroma is floral and chocolatey, describes the Canadian. It's the taste of chocolate malt with a bit of cherry. It's sweet and without bitterness. It's like a cross between tea and coffee. Just as there are luxury perfumes and luxury whiskeys, there are luxury waters. This is the case of Kona Nagari water, whose 750 ml bottle costs $402. You'd think that these bottles are set with precious stones, but they are not. They look passable, and you wouldn't guess the price by looking at them. It's the contents that make them so expensive. Then why is this water so expensive? First of all, it's because it's perfectly pure. The water in these bottles is extracted from the deep waters off the coast of Hawaii, in a depression in the ocean floor. This is an area that is inaccessible to the slightest polluting element. The water does not change when it meets objects that have been on the surface. Secondly, it is the production technique, which is environmentally friendly. Thirdly, it is the health benefits of this water. According to a study by the University of Arizona, Kona Nagari water, rich in minerals and electrolytes, hydrates more effectively than other waters. You may be surprised, but this water is very popular. 80,000 bottles are sent to Japan every day. If you want to buy this water, it will be a bit complicated because it is not sold online. On the other hand, for $32, you can get a low-end version of this water at Kona Deep. The horseshoe crab is a marine arthropod, special in many ways. Not only because it has 10 eyes, but also because its morphology has remained almost unchanged for 150 million years. It's a living fossil, but what we're interested in now is its blood. It contains a property that justifies its price, and its usefulness to the pharmaceutical industry. The horseshoe crab has blue blood. This coloration is due to hemocyanin, a copper-containing molecule that carries oxygen. Hemocyanin is a respiratory pigment in the same way as hemoglobin, which rather contains iron and is more widespread. The blue blood of the horseshoe crab facilitates the detection of bacterial toxins in vaccines and medicines. In fact, it coagulates in less than an hour if it is infested with even the smallest amount of bacteria. Mammalian blood, compared to the blood of other mammals, begins to react after 2 days. Then you won't be surprised to discover that the blood of this animal is very expensive. The price per liter reaches $14,000. Imagine that 500,000 horseshoe crabs are captured each year, and their blood is taken directly from the heart. They are then released, diminished, and with little chance of survival. Unfortunately, the horseshoe crab population has been greatly reduced because of these massive catches, to the point where it is threatened with extinction. However, as long as the search for synthetic substitutes is unsuccessful, horseshoe crab blood will continue to sell for a high price. That's the end of that video. I hope you found it entertaining. What was the liquid that surprised you the most? Tell us about it.